It's great to have you join us for our webinar entitled Better Ways to Work Together. And we're going to be looking at a practical guide to collaborative modelling and engaging all stakeholders. My name's Scott Hebbard. I'm the Communications Manager at Spark Systems, and I'm joined by Nithya, who is going to be presenting. So just a little bit of housekeeping before we begin. I'm going to discuss how to submit questions. This webinar will appear on YouTube and the Spark Systems website, along with hundreds of other videos and webinars and content that you might find valuable. Nithya will discuss a practical guide to collaborative modelling, engaging all stakeholders using the Pro Cloud Server. And we'll finish up with Q&A from the audience. So just a note on how to ask questions. Please note that audio is muted for all participants. You'll be able to type questions to the host, and if we can't answer all questions live, we'll follow up offline. Simply enter your text into the text box as shown on screen, hit send or hit enter on the numeric keypad, and that'll come through to myself, and we'll ask and answer those questions. And if we can't get to them all in the allotted time, we'll follow up offline and publish them on the Spark Systems website. But right now, I would like to hand over to Nithya, who is going to present on better ways to work together. So welcome, Nithya.
Thank you, Scott. Welcome, everyone. I hope you all had a good Easter with your family. If you're celebrating Easter, otherwise a good break. How was your Easter, Scott?
It was good. We got a new puppy, so that was nice, and nice. That kept us entertained. So yes,
that's nice.
I can see your learning points, so I'll hand over to yourself.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. Yes. So let's get started without any delay. So today in this webinar, we are going to talk about Pro Cloud Server. So Pro Cloud Server has been there for several years now, and we feel at Spark Systems, we feel we need to make the users understand it better in order to maximize the benefits of using PCS. So that's the whole point of having this webinar today. So I'm going to discuss about what is PCS or the Pro Cloud Server, what are the benefits of using Pro Cloud Server for Enterprise Architect, and then how to install and configure. And now that we have the Pro Cloud Server installed and configured, what are the three different deployment options that we have in order to have three levels of collaboration targeting different kind of audiences? So that's what we are going to look at in today's webinar. So what is a PCS? As Scott already introduced, the Pro Cloud Server is a technology. So it provides a platform to host Enterprise Architect repository anywhere in the world. When I say anywhere in the world, it can be, it just does not mean on the typical cloud. You can have it hosted in-house and then use web browsers to access the repository. So what it basically does is the PCS allows you to access the Enterprise Architect repositories using a simple connection string. And then it is just a one-time setup. It need not be done again and again. So once the URL is given to the users, people can use the Enterprise Architect repository, can have access to the repository. So we use the term cloud in order to indicate, it's very important here because there's been a little bit of confusion around that term cloud for the PCS. So the term is, it indicates that, as I said, you can simply connect to the repository with a URL without any further configuration. It doesn't mean it has to be in a cloud like AWS Cloud or GCP, etc. So it can be in-house as well, hosted in-house. So these are the system requirements. I'm not going to read one by one. It's just, for the sake of understanding, basic system requirement is displayed on the screen. What are the operating systems supported, and different versions that are required. The minimum version is Enterprise Architect 13 or later. This is the system requirements. You can have a look at this later. It's also this information is also available in the license agreement and also on our website for your perusing. So I will move on to the actual content of the webinar. So coming to the PCS benefits. So why have we got the PCS? Is in order to allow distributed model development and also have in-model collaboration. So PCS is basically developed using the OSLC, which is Open Services for Lifecycle Collaboration. So using this technology, the PCS has been developed, and in order to give a streamlined deployment, to have improved performance when there's network latency, etc. And also now that because people are going to access the models from remote locations, the security has to be enhanced as well. So as you can see, the main goal is to allow the distributed model development and collaboration. And then we have the strategies for streamlined deployment and performance and security. So how do we achieve streamlined deployment? Users can connect to the models that are hosted using ProCloud Server. Will need only a single URL. The admin will all set it up, and the URL will be given to every user who needs access to the hosted repository. So there are no special drives. Not every desktop or every machine need not have the database drivers installed and set up and configured, etc. So it's just a very simple process. And then how do we improve the performance? So there's a great deal of work has gone into improving the performance, especially with PCS 5, the latest version 5.1. For example, with large XMI import and export, the performance has been greatly enhanced using batch processing of database calls, and there are a lot of optimizations done for WebEA and Prolaborate in accessing the queries. Also for the Oracle models that are hosted in ProCloud Server, there's a native database connection which uses the native XMI format in order to exchange the information. The network stability has also been improved in the latest version. From the aspect of security, the database servers have no longer to need to be exposed to the firewall. It can be run from inside the corporate firewall. And as you can see, the other important aspects are listed. The PCS can be configured to encrypt the communication using the standard protocols. So during transmission, there is security for the data. Then there is HTTP level authorization and HTTPS level authorization, which I'll show you using the when we go into the PCS configuration window or the dialog. It can also be configured for read-only access models for based on the user. Some users you only need to give read-only access. For some users you need to control or restrict the access. Like for example, they can edit a particular diagram which they are authoring, but they cannot change or modify the diagram for which they are not the authors, etc. So there are different levels of access that you can set using the ProCloud Server. So this is the basic idea. I hope you would have understood why PCS and how we achieve all these things in a very broad sense. Now that we understand what PCS is and why we need to use PCS, I will talk about the PCS license types. So there are 3 different license types. One is token edition, and then you have the team server edition, and finally the enterprise server edition. Token edition is for concurrent users. So for example, the company has around 50 people, and then the organization, and only 10 of them will use the model or will need access to the repository concurrently. Then they can go for token edition. You can just get 10 tokens and have it. And if a person's using a token and then it's released, the token goes back, and then someone else can use the token to access the repository. So it's scalable. If you want more tokens, you can purchase more tokens. So this is best suited if you know how many concurrent users are there and not everyone will be accessing the repository at the same time. The team server edition, say for example, there are different teams. There are systems engineering teams, there are like project management teams, and there are like basic data modeling teams, etc. You want to separate the repositories, and then you can have the team server edition, in which the web users are unlimited. You can use WebEA or Proliferate. Any number of users can use it. You can have up to 7 repositories using the team server. Finally, we have the enterprise server edition. And this supports any number of repositories and has unlimited web users. It is best used when you want enterprise architect, the model, to be used by the entire, like the model drives the entire enterprise processes, in which the entire enterprise can see a single version of truth of the repository. Then you can go for enterprise server edition. So these are the 3 different types of license models. Now that we have understood what are the license types, how do we actually go and install? So this is a process flow diagram. I will tell you, like, if you want to make your own process flow diagram, it's very, very simple in Enterprise Architect. It comes with preloaded guidance models. For example, say I want to create a model from a pattern, and then I'm choosing the guidance. As you can see, there are a whole lot of guidance instructions, not only for PCS, but for all the DBMS installation, cloud service installation. How do you set cloud services, and then how do you add database, how do you migrate to a cloud repository, etc. I'll just scroll down just for you to see a bit more of, there are a lot of guidance documents here, which allows you to explore further. For the sake of our webinar today, I'm going to select Pro Cloud Install. So this is what we want, and I've already imported that, but I will do it for you. There's also WebEA install and Keystore install. So what I'm doing is, there's this create guidance button, and there's this add model. We want to change the path. You can change the path as well. For our, I just leave it under model for this example, and I just create. So the model has been loaded. So there it is. Click on it. So here it is. So I have this checklist, and these are the steps. As you do one by one, you can just tick the box, and then once it is done, you can just sign off. It's done. You can review and sign off this particular installation, and that is one way. I will go to the model that I've already created, because I have the sample videos of the installation and configuration here added to this diagram, so that it's easy to drive this webinar. So the first thing is you have to run the installer. Where do you get the installer? Go to the registered user section in sparkssystems.com, and then you'll be able to download the latest PCS from the web page. And once you get the here it is, the PSS Pro Cloud Server for 64-bit. It's also available for 34-bit. I double click on it and then you get the setup window where you have to accept the license agreement, just like any other software. Have a run through what the license is and then accept and then go next, and then you have this information. Again, you have the systems requirement for PCS there, and then once you go there, you have the custom setup. So whatever you want here, these are the options that you have. You can select them, and then you can select the location where you want the PCS to be installed, and click OK, and then go next, install, and very simple, just some clicks, and then finish. Okay, so that is it. So once you do this, the Pro Cloud Config client will be available for you to do further. And then the important thing is you have to set the machine firewall to allow port 804. It's a default one that for this test. So we can do that. That's very simple. And then we can look at configuring the client. PCS config. Okay. Double click on the config client, which just now got installed. When you double click on it, you will get a window where you can log on. So the local host, I've given the address 1803, and then this is all default data. You can go and have a look at the user guide where there is a default password that has been used. So just type in the password, enter the admin password. The first time you used will be the default one. Then it's PCS1 admin. Then you can change it later. And click on OK. Then comes the configuration client. So this is the window where you have the database managers, what ports, and if you're going to do integrations with third-party software, again, everything is controlled from within this configuration client. So as you can see, there are different ports, and there are different integrations. The integration part. You can access control. So if you want to whitelist some clients, you can provide the IP address here. There are some extended properties. If you see this window, you can have audit period, time period, because every changes can be audited in Enterprise Architect and it will be audited if you turn on auditing. And then you can set the default period for interval for capturing the information, and the logging, what kind of information that you want, basic information or detailed logging of the changes, like, you know, only the warning, or you want a trail of everything happening. You can just select what kind of information you want. Just select it for the default one. And then where's the floating license? Okay, and the let's go. Just enable it to show it to you. So now you can just click OK. And then there's this licensing. Yes, so what you have to first do is create a request. When you create a request, you create your company details, email ID, and an installation ID. You can choose the installation ID. For example, you can 3 or 4 installation and you want that to be yes, that is, you can give it here, and then you press OK. What happens is a request file will be generated. You can see that in a minute. So it will be generated on the desktop. So the request file is .csr extension. So that's the file that was generated. Once you have this request file, what you need to do is you have to send an email to sales@sparksystems.com with this request file requesting for a license. So they will send you the license back, like what kind of license you want. You'll be selecting everything and then you can request for the license. Okay, so once you receive the license from Spark Systems, this is what you'll be doing. Again, initiate the ProCloud config client and then type in the password. Then this will invoke the configuration client window here, and then go to add the license, licensing, add license, and select the license file and click on OK. You can see this is an enterprise edition, so the token is 0 enterprise edition. It's unlimited access. You can see Pro model 0 of unlimited. All clients are allowed. If you want, you can add whitelists, etc. Again, the extended properties, what information you want here. How many OSLC sessions you want. You have default, max, simultaneous, S10. These are some of the information. If you want more information regarding this in detail, it is all available in the user guide. And then the ports, the default ports that are enabled is 1804 and 1805. If you want to use enable integration, you want to integrate with third-party package softwares like Jira, Confluence, etc., Salesforce, you have to enable the integrations and then give the data through other connections. Yes, so now that we have, you can have a native connection or a database ODBC connection. For the sake of this webinar, I've selected the native connection and I'm going to connect with the Firebird repository. The Firebird repository is now created using a base model, EA base model that comes with the with your installation. And then giving a file name, you can change it to my FP model. And then hit on OK. So what happens now is you will create a Firebird model. And then as you can see, the connection string is already there. You're not going to do anything with the ODBC drivers. We want pro features, then enable OSLC WebEA integration. You want to generate the diagrams for WebEA Collaborate, you can configure that. What support model user and password, depending on your requirement. You can choose that and I'll set OK. Now we are good to go. So what we did is we installed BCS. Once we installed BCS, in the configuration window, we requested for a license, and then a license request was generated. And then the license request file has to be sent to sales@sparksystems.com in order to get a license file. Depending on what kind of license you want, you give that information, and then the license will be generated and the license file will be sent to you. Once you have the license file, all you have to do is go into the configuration client and then add the license and additional settings, any additional settings you want, just go ahead and do it, and then it is all good to go. We have already created a Firebird repository in order to test the connection, data connection. So here is the video for that, and what I'm doing is I'm using EA64-bit. The version is 16.1, the latest one, and click on cloud connection. As you can see, what I did was I did not go into server connection and then give all the information. Just click on cloud connection, and then the cloud connection will be the name of the model that we created was my FP model, and then the local host 1804 was the port, and then the model name, and then click OK. So it's like as simple as that. Once you do this, you will see how simple it goes from here. I'm just pulling the configuration client in order to show you like the port is 1804. So, okay. All right. So as you can see, model is created. Add model using Lizard. It's an empty model at the moment. If you have an existing repository, then to the existing repository. But since it's a fresh model, I'm creating using model Wizard again, just an order processing activity model. And here it is. So now it's there for testing purposes. So I've created these models. Now what I'm going to do is close the project. Yeah. Exit EA. Created the model. Let's see if we can connect to the Firebird repository again using that was hosted in the PCS, so it's already there. The other simple thing you can do is pin connection. What happens is when you open several models, if the latest model that you open goes away from that, or the model that you need can go away and the latest models will be loaded to the recent. What I like to do is if I want to access certain repositories that are not always I'm using, then I will do a pin connection. What this does is adds this repository to the pinned repository. As you can see, there are 3 different repositories which I want to use, and then there it is for me, always accessible. And then here you go, just click on it and the model opens. It's simple, isn't it? Done. So we have installed, configured, and created a native connection, a repository using native connection, and tested the native connection. Hope this run through was useful. If there are any questions so far, please feel free to post the questions on the webinar questions window. I will attend to it soon. So we have looked at it, we looked at the install process. And now that we have PCS, what are the 3 different levels of collaboration or 3 different tiered platform with Enterprise Architect or different deployment options with Enterprise Architect that enables the distributed collaboration? This is something that I think is very important to understand in order to maximize business and your strategic goals. So one is Enterprise Architect on PCS, which I just demonstrated. So this one is for core modeling team. So the idea is you use Enterprise Architect desktop version from anywhere. It's hosted on PCS. You can access the model from anywhere. The idea is it engages modelers. It's a tightly coupled collaboration between the modelers. The inbuilt modeling or the collaboration features of EA will be used, like the chat, discuss, review, and journal. You can even keep a diary of the modeling process, etc. So using this deployment option, modelers from widely dispersed locations are connected using PCS, and this is like how to say, like people who are hardcore modelers who understand UML and its intricacies can use this version. There are other model deployment options which makes it easier for other kind of stakeholders. The next one is the WebEA on PCS. So WebEA is a lightweight extension of Enterprise Architect. Not all the time modelers need write access, or not all the time modelers will all have access to desktop version. So what happens now? Say, for example, there's a systems engineer who has have created a state machine diagram. He has simulated everything and is actually on the factory floor wanting to know if the model actually worked in the real world, like when it's been implemented. So what happens is, to check, they can just take a tablet or even the mobile phone, take it to the shop floor or the factory floor and have a look at the process models or the state machine models. And then he's not going to edit the model, he's just going to have a look at it. Or he may choose to add more model elements or attributes on the spot. In that case, a WebEA would be very, very useful. So people can access the Enterprise Architect repository using any device from anywhere. So the target audience is, again, they are modelers or people who want to consume the model in a very who are there in the core team. What I mean to say is they are like modelers, they are the core team, and they are discussing and they want to brainstorm from wherever they are. They discuss, they review it, they journal everything from wherever they are, and they want to use this. Then WebEA on PCS is the best option to go for. Finally, we have the Collaborate on PCS. This is the ultimate collaborative platform which targets the entire enterprise. It targets like from the C-level executives to the people running daily and time critical processes. So it's just not the modelers, it's all the consumers of the model. It could be project managers, it could be a strategy manager, it could be you could even use it to present it to the CEO or C-level executives. You can create dashboards to show like how many requirements have passed, what are all the risks, what are the type of risks, what are the processes that are being reviewed, and what has worked, etc. So as you can see from the image here, for the core modeling team, it's a ProCloud server, and then you can use the desktop or laptop to access this. And then the team members, again, it's for different devices. Again, these are used, this particular platform is used by core model consumers or modelers. And then we have the enterprise-wide collaboration, which is enabled by Collaborate on PCS. So as you can see, the enterprise-wide collaboration enables discussions, reviews, then you can create dashboards, you can share the diagram, and you can see what are the diagrams that you have authored, and you can collaborate those diagrams. You can share the diagrams with other people, ask for some suggestions, ask for recommendations, ask for reviews, approvals, etc. For example, discussions in Collaborate. Here you go. This is a sample screenshot where you have a BPMN diagram and you have highlighted a particular process and you want to discuss about that particular process. You can say, okay, comment on this. And you can even say like who you want, which user you're expecting to comment on. Like you can tag the user. It's just like a social media platform. It's so easy to use. You can just go ahead and tag the users and ask for the comments. There's like buttons. You can see there how many likes are there, etc. So it makes things more user-friendly, and it is understandable by all kind of users, not only the modelers or like the technical people, can be understood by non-modeling audience as well. This is another screenshot, reviewers dashboard. So here it is. You can see that this is a process review, and there are like 3 different process diagrams. One is deploy resources, launch the product, payments. There are the 3 different, and then these are all the process diagrams that are currently under review. It's active, and you can see like how many days are there. So you have it's a very clean and crisp view of, okay, these are all the items that needs to be reviewed, and this is the number of days left, and what are the different contents. You click on each and every review item, and you can drill down for more information. And there are already 2 discussions that are there. There's a notification, and you can approve, reject, etc. So this is another screenshot that shows the dashboard for the reviewers. And the reviews dashboard, here it is. This is another kind of a dashboard which gives you the information of, okay, how many reviews are open, how many are closed, how much is in progress, what are all the completed ones. So just see, for example, for a project manager, it'd be so easy to just go in and have a look at this dashboard, and thereby it automatically informs him about the progress of the project. Then the share diagram. So here it is. If you have a particular diagram you want to share with someone, you can even select whether it is a public or private access. You want to share it by email ID, etc., and then share. What happens is once you send the link will actually connect them to the real-time view of the diagram. In the meantime, if anything has changed, you can be assured that the end user, the email ID, the user whose email ID you put in there will be seeing the real-time view and not an outdated view of the process. There's another diagram. You can have all the diagrams that you are interested in, and you can filter by authors, and you can discuss, you can collaborate, etc. So all these things are just a snapshot of what you can do with Collaborate. So it basically connects enterprise-wide audience, not just the modelers. You can have anyone use this Collaborate. You can select the kind of access you want. You can set the restriction that you want, who you want to review, or whose comment you're looking for, etc. So these are the 3 different platforms, or say 3 different type platforms that involves any kind of users at some level. For example, this is just a core modeling team, this could be modeling team, project managers, and this is like anybody, not just the modeling team people, but model consumers who are non-modelers, who do not have any idea of UML or anything to do with UML, can also have a view that is customized for them. They are not going to see very technical details. You can just tailor the view for C-level executives or for anyone who needs the information in the form that they want. For example, create a dashboard of all the tasks that were completed. Okay, as simple as that. just the dashboard. That's all. You don't want any other data. You can easily have that view in Collaborate on PCS. So this makes it very versatile. And finally, we have the EA SaaS. This is a no fuss. Everything is an up and running solution. So you don't need to do any of this. You can just host your repository in ESS, which is another option with which Collaborate can also be integrated. And then you can have up and running solution in no time at all. So these are the different kinds of deployment options that you have and different levels of collaboration based on the audience of the users of the repository. So I hope I have given clear information of why PCS, why we have WebEA, why we have Collaborate, and then why over time we have moved on to ESAS, which is inevitable because in the current scenario where people are all working from remote places, geographically dispersed places, and we have to work together, connect with each other in a way where we can maximize the benefit of using EA. So these are different collaboration levels. So I hope this has given you a good overview of why you need PCS. Scott?
Thanks, Nithya. Now, some of the pictures that you showed on the right-hand side, like the discussions in Collaborate and reviewers dashboard and things like that, just to be clear, were they all just being viewed via a web browser or?
Absolutely, yes. You need to have Collaborate installed, and every you can share the, for example, this is within the Collaborate. Yes, you can access Collaborate within the web browser, and you want to share, you can just share a link which goes as a URL to the user that you want to share, if that's what you're asking.
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify because it looks so comprehensive. It could be a separate application, but you can just send a URL, so send a link to someone and instantly allow them to, for example, review a business process modeling diagram or look at a review process or to share a diagram that's been built and constructed and Teams review in Enterprise Architect, and you're looking at the final product just via a simple link sent via email and viewed in a web browser. So that's quite powerful. There was a question from David that talked about getting access to this model. But one of the things that I think I wanted to point out is that at any stage, it's possible to create a guidance in Enterprise Architect that will generate that list for you. So perhaps if you could show how easy it is to create a guidance for any topic, how that's possible.
Yeah, I did that for ProCloud install. I'll show that again. So here is the model. What I did was I clicked on this top leftmost icon, which is new model from pattern, or you can use Control-Shift-M, or simply just right click on the package where you want to create the new guidance and then add model using a wizard. The wizard opens up and there are different options: create from pattern, add a diagram, and guidance. So guidance is where all the process flow, or the guidance of different types of things that you can do with an EA, like for example, debugging, or you want a database builder, I want to create a new database builder, and then I say create guidance. I just simply click on it, and then there you go. The create a new database guidance is created here, and then there goes the setup, creating model, set up the database connections, and then comes with a checklist so that you can ensure that you have gone through each and every process. You can just, as you go through the process, you just can, click on it and check, have the checklist for your reference.
Yeah, thanks, Nithya. That's really good.
Yeah,
so
and one more thing is
the two parts of the question, which is, he was finding it a bit challenging to read the text, well, you can create it yourself. I'm viewing it on a 2K monitor and it looks quite nice, but you can create them yourself. And yes, we'll make the model that you see today available on the Spark Systems website so that you can review it in your own time as well. So
absolutely. If you're interested, you can also have a look at this demo.sparkspublic.com webpage, which is, I'll bring up the this is just this is a WebEA model hosted on WebEA, model hosted on WebEA. You can access using mobile, tablet, or desktop. The EA example model is there. Since I am using desktop, I will click on the desktop, and then as you can see, this is how the WebEA will look in your interface, whichever device you're using. Mine is a desktop, so there you go. Just click on it. Feel free to go in at demo.sparkspublic.com and have a look into all the example models if you're interested.
So that is a great way to demonstrate WebEA and to show how you can quickly and easily get an enterprise architect model up on a website. And I think one of the great things about the presentation is that you saw in under half an hour you were able to run an application, set up a few ports, add a database, and get up and running very, very quickly. And then you're able to use Enterprise Architect to access that. People might have noticed that you used port 1804, I think it was, for a HTTP connection, but there was also an option set up for a secure HTTP, so a HTTPS connection on, I think it was on 1405 or something like that. So it's very easy to to set up a secure connection. It's very easy to set up WebEA, and it's really easy to take all of the rich diagrams and models that have been created in Enterprise Architect and share them easily. And the Prolaborate examples show you how you can then really engage with those C-level executives and people kind of running the daily and time-critical processes, so they can really dive into that enterprise data and get information that's relevant to their needs at any time. So that's quite powerful. There was a question there about, and I'm not quite sure why the Microsoft SQL Server was disabled in the list. I'm not sure if you know that.
Which list? Is it the configuration window?
The list of databases, but I think the important thing to point out is that there's Firebird databases and Microsoft databases and MySQL databases, and you can also access native connections. So we might look into that. But I know with Enterprise Architect 16, we've been moving towards the QEA files, so that they're faster and more robust and things like that, rather than the old EA and EAP files. So I think part of that is in response to that. So I think there's some people asking about some other webinars. So there are other webinars that dive into more detail about the Prolaborate and some of the integrations, such as Jira and things like that. So yes, we do have some webinars for some of those things, and we'll cover those in any more detail. So I might wrap things up. Thank you very much, Cynthia, for a very detailed presentation.
My pleasure, Scott. Thank you, everyone, for attending.
That's great. So take care. Look forward to seeing you at a future webinar. And on that note, I'll sign off. So thank you. Have a good day, evening, or night, depending where you are in the world, and take care. Thank you.
Thank you all.